Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village, there lived a man named Aaron. He was a kind, hard-working man, and everyone in the village respected him. Aaron was very close to his mother, Mary. She was an old woman now, but when Aaron was young, Mary had done everything for him. She fed him, took care of him when he was sick, and always made sure he had enough to eat. Aaron loved his mother deeply. One day, while working in the city, Aaron met a beautiful woman named Clara. Clara was young, full of energy, and had a lovely smile. Aaron fell in love with her almost instantly. Clara was everything he had dreamed of. She was smart, confident, and always knew how to make him laugh. After a few months of dating, Aaron asked Clara to marry him, and she said yes. It was the happiest day of his life. Aaron brought Clara to his village to live with him and his mother. First, everything was wonderful. Mary welcomed Clara with open arms, and Clara seemed happy. But after a few months, things started to change. Clara began to feel uncomfortable living with Aaron's mother. She didn't like the way Mary spoke to her, and she felt that Mary was always watching her. One evening, Aaron came home from work, tired and hungry. He had had a long day at the office and was looking forward to a nice meal. When he walked into the house, Clara was sitting on the couch, looking upset. Aaron could feel the tension in the air. "Clara," he said gently, "I'm really hungry. Can you please bring me some food?" Clara didn't look at him. She crossed her arms and said, "There is no food." Aaron was surprised. Clara usually made dinner while his mother rested. "What do you mean? Why isn't there any food?" he asked, trying to understand what had happened. Clara stood up, her face red with anger. "Your mother happened," she shouted. "She said terrible things to me today. She called me lazy and useless. I can't live like this anymore." Aaron was shocked. "What did my mother say to you?" "She's old, Clara. Sometimes she doesn't mean what she says." But Clara was too angry to listen. "I don't care. I don't care how old she is. I hate her. I won't stay in this house with her anymore. You need to choose, Aaron. It's either me or your mother." Aaron's heart sank. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. How could Clara ask him to choose between her and his mother? He loved Clara, but his mother had been with him his whole life. She had taken care of him, and now she needed his care. That night, Aaron couldn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing. What was he supposed to do? He loved Clara so much, and she was right. She was young and beautiful. Aaron feared that if Clara left, he would never find someone like her again. But how could he abandon his mother, the woman who had sacrificed so much for him? The next morning, Aaron sat at the kitchen table, his head in his hands. He felt lost. Clara walked in and saw him sitting there. She stood in front of him, looking confident and strong. "Aaron," she said, her voice cold, "you know what you have to do. I am young and beautiful. You will never find another woman like me. If you want me to stay, you need to make a decision. I can't live like this anymore." Aaron looked up at her, his eyes full of sadness. He didn't know what to say. Clara was right. She was beautiful, and he loved her. But deep down, he knew he couldn't abandon his mother. Later that day, Aaron made a terrible decision. He decided to take his mother to the mountains and leave her there. He had heard stories of people doing this when they couldn't care for their elderly parents anymore. It was a cold, heartless act, but Aaron felt like he had no other choice. He told his mother they were going for a walk, and she smiled at him, happy to spend time with her son. They left the house and began walking up the steep mountain path. As they climbed higher, Aaron's heart grew heavier. His mother was old and weak, but she didn't complain. She held onto his arm and walked slowly beside him. After what felt like hours, they reached the top of the mountain. Aaron stopped, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked around, trying to find the strength to tell his mother what he was planning to do. But before he could say anything, Mary looked up at him, her eyes full of love. "Careful, son," she said softly. "I know why you brought me here. You don't need to say it. Just be safe on your way down." At that moment, Aaron's heart broke. He remembered all the times his mother had taken care of him, how she fed him when he was a baby, how she stayed up all night when he was sick, how she worked hard to give him a better life. Tears filled his eyes, and he realized he couldn't go through with it. He couldn't leave her there. As Aaron stood on that cold, lonely mountain with his mother, tears streamed down his face. The wind whispered through the trees, but all he could hear were the echoes of his mother's kind voice from years ago, when she used to sing him to sleep, when she'd tell him stories to make him smile after a bad day. It was like a heavy weight sat on his chest, crushing him with every memory. How could he even think of abandoning her? His mother, Mary, stood beside him quietly, as if she knew everything he was going through without needing to say a word. Her frail hands, wrinkled with age, held on to his arm gently. She didn't seem angry or upset, only calm, almost as if she had already forgiven him before he had made his decision. "Son," she said again, her voice soft but clear, "I know life has been hard for you. And Clara? She is your wife. It's not easy to manage everything, but I am your mother. And mothers don't leave their sons, not even when they're old. Don't worry about me. You've done enough." Aaron felt a stab of guilt pierce his heart. How could his mother still be thinking about him, even now, when he had brought her up here to leave her? He looked at her, his eyes filled with sorrow, and he could barely speak. His throat was dry, his mind clouded. His love for Clara had pushed him into this moment, but now he couldn't go on. He couldn't hurt the one person who had never hurt him. Suddenly a wave of memories came flooding back to him, memories of his childhood. He remembered how his mother would stay awake at night when he had fevers, how she worked tirelessly to provide for him, and how she would always find a way to make him laugh, even when they had nothing. Mary had sacrificed so much for him, and this was how he was about to repay her, by abandoning her on a mountain to save his marriage. Aaron collapsed to his knees, unable to hold back his emotions any longer. He buried his face in his hands, crying like a child. His mother knelt beside him, not saying anything, but her presence was comforting. She didn't need to speak. Her love was stronger than words. "I'm sorry, Mom," Aaron whispered between sobs. "I don't know what I was thinking. I can't do this. I can't leave you." Mary reached out and stroked Aaron's hair, just as she had done when he was a little boy. "It's all right, son. Understand. You're in a difficult position. But remember, Life isn't about choosing between the people you love. It's about finding a way to take care of everyone, even when it's hard. Aaron listened to her words, and they settled deep in his heart. His mother's wisdom was gentle, but powerful. She wasn't asking him to choose between her and Clara. She just wanted him to understand that love wasn't a choice between two people. It was something you gave even when it was difficult. After a long moment of silence, Aaron stood up and helped his mother to her feet. He realized he could never hurt her. He could never leave her. She had given him life, and now it was his turn to take care of her in her old age. No matter what Clara said, Aaron knew his duty was to his mother. As they walked down the mountain together, Aaron's thoughts were heavy with what he had to face at home. He knew Clara wouldn't be happy with his decision. She had already made it clear that she couldn't live with his mother anymore. But Aaron's heart was firm now. He had made his choice. He would find a way to protect both his mother and his marriage. When they returned to the village, the sun was beginning to set. The golden light bathed the little houses in warmth. But Aaron's home felt cold and tense. As soon as they stepped inside, Clara was waiting. She stood in the middle of the living room, her arms crossed, and her expression unreadable. "Aaron," she said sharply, "I've been waiting for hours. Where were you?" Aaron took a deep breath and stepped forward. He gently helped his mother to sit down before turning to face Clara. "We went for a walk," Aaron said quietly. "I needed to think." Clara narrowed her eyes. "About what? Did you finally make a decision?" Aaron's heart pounded in his chest. He knew this conversation would not be easy. "Yes," he said, his voice steady. "I have made a decision. I love you, Clara, but I also love my mother. I can't choose between you. I won't." Clara's face twisted with anger. "What are you saying, Aaron? I told you either she goes or I go. You can't have both." Aaron felt a wave of sadness wash over him. How had things come to this? He had once thought Clara was his perfect match, the woman he would spend the rest of his life with. But now, standing before her, he saw how different they were. Clara's beauty, her charm, all of it seemed to fade in the face of her cold ultimatum. "I can't throw my mother out, Clara. She raised me. She took care of me when no one else was there. I won't betray her now." Clara's face turned red with fury. She grabbed her things and started packing. "If that's how you feel, Aaron, then we're done. You're choosing her over me, and I won't stay here a minute longer." Aaron watched as Clara stormed around the house, throwing her clothes into a suitcase. His heart ached, but he knew he had made the right decision. His mother sat silently in the corner, tears filling her eyes, but she didn't say a word. Clara slammed the door behind her and walked out into the night, leaving Aaron and his mother alone in the quiet house. The weight of the silence was heavy, but for the first time in a long while, Aaron felt a strange sense of peace. He had chosen love, not the selfish, demanding love that Clara wanted, but the selfless love his mother had shown him his entire life. He walked over to his mother and knelt beside her. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered. "I should have never doubted you." Mary smiled through her tears and placed her hand on his cheek. "You did the right thing, Aaron. True love is about sacrifice. You'll find your way, and one day you'll find someone who understands that."